Welcome to the Dork Forest. Jackie and her pals will never bore us. Shameless confessions
about our obsession
will make us laugh and smile. So let's explore the Dork Forest and dork out for a while.
Hi, I'm Jackie Cation, and you're listening to the Dork Forest. You know the websites, JackieCation.com, DorkForest.com. The credits, Mike Rickberg sang that song. He wrote and composed it. He sang it with Sarah Cohen. He's going to sing again at the end, Mexican Hat Dance. And then Vilmos fixes the website, and Patrick Brady is going to fix this audio. JackieCation.com has my stand-up and live Dork Forest schedules, including my upcoming Portland, Oregon, going to be doing Portland, Oregon, live Dork Forest with Carrie Brownstein from Portlandia, and a stand-up show July 13th. Feel free to come out to that. So the links are all on JackieCation.com. And there is a donation button on JackieCation.com and on DorkForest.com, which now points to All Things Comedy, which is the umbrella podcast host that I am with right now. That is amazing. All Things Comedy, by the way, has about 30 other podcasts that you can listen to. Feel free to cherry pick over there. They're on the right-hand side. The donation button on DorkForest.com and JackieCation.com are live. Feel free to donate. Knock yourselves out. I recommend everyone give me $100 a year. Yep. And if you don't have $100 a year, don't worry about it. Just tell everybody that you love the show. And you can get merch if you want. That's another way to donate and get stuff. You can get a Ranger of the Dork Forest t-shirt from JackieCation.com or the Brett Chambers Dork Forest t-shirt. My CDs, you can buy those. You can also use the banner, the Amazon banner, and buy your stuff through Amazon, and Amazon gives me a kickback. Last month, I made $39. Pretty sweet. Anyway, let's get into it. It's a good episode. Thanks for listening, folks. Hi, it's Jackie Cation. Welcome to the Dork Forest. Sitting in my living room, returning to the Dork Forest, because what I've decided to do, because TiVo sponsored the show, right? So I want to know about TiVo, and I knew that Andrew Solmson had a TiVo. You were in on the ground floor at TiVo, Andrew Solmson. Welcome back to the program.
So happy to be here, Jackie.
Excellent.
I am a ground floor TiVo user. I bought my original TiVo HDR 110 at Fry's Electronics in August of 1999.
It's a beautiful, it was the spring, wasn't it? Was it the spring of 99?
No, it was August.
Oh, I'm sorry. Yeah. It was the heat of the day.
Yeah.
That's lovely. Let me introduce the man that you were like, I know a lot about TiVo, but let's bring in someone who knows a lot about TiVo. Michael Adberg, welcome to the Dork Forest.
All right. Thank you for having me.
Sure. So yes. So weakness is weak knees.
It's weak knees. Believe it or not. It's Weakness. If you go to weakness.com, you will still find us.
Oh, really?
We made sure that long ago, but we are in fact Weak Knees, which, since everyone asks, I'll go ahead and give it out, is the feeling you get when you first experience the magic of TiVo. That's where we came up with the name. Now, granted.
Really?
That's really, well, that was the name we
awesome.
came up with years and years ago, before we actually knew we'd have a live and growing company here. So,
that's how excited you were about TiVo when it started.
We were pretty floored by the whole experience.
Well, it is an amazing idea just because before TiVo there wasn't any DVRs, right?
Right. TiVo, to a lot of people, is synonymous with DVR. It really was, if not the first, one of the first. I guess there was Replay TV in there. And people still have and use Replay TVs out there.
My father was a beta tester for Replay.
Okay.
And I had a 2020 and for a long time, and one of his original beta units.
And then you switched to TiVo?
Yeah.
Is that what happened?
Well, I had both.
You did have both for a while. I do remember that.
For a long time, I had TiVo, Replay, and then I think I also had the cable company DVR at one point or another. So at one point, I had 3 DVRs going.
Okay.
3 competing technology. It's easy to have 3 DVRs. Usually they're the same technology, but you got 3 competing technologies.
Well, we're talking here like 2000, 2001.
Okay.
But the HDR 110 was the first one that I got. And I'm actually just looking here on my iPad because you were the people I'd talked to about upgrading.
Okay.
Because there wasn't enough memory?
I wanted
correct?
more storage. Yeah.
Right.
And it came with a 14 gig hard drive.
Which is about an hour of programming per gig, is that right?
At the lowest level, which was even a tiny bit less quality than VHS, or about the same.
And that's at standard definition, so it's very little capacity.
Yeah.
Okay.
So if you wanted high quality programming, it was about 4 hours.
Okay.
All right. And but almost immediately upon the arrival of TiVo, it was taken apart by the various enthusiasts out there. who realized that it was actually a fairly custom-built Linux system.
Is that true?
That's absolutely true.
Yeah, that it's a Linux kernel that boots a custom TiVo application that does all of the actual TiVo recording and maintenance of the program guides and things like that. And so they figured out how to add capacity to the TiVo. It had room for another hard drive in there. Some of the original TiVos actually had 2 hard drives in them, right? And
right. Not the first generation like yours, but the second generation, they put, 2 14 gig drives or 2 13 gig drives.
And they made it possible. Tell me about your introduction to TiVo. Well, how did you buy one first and then get into it, or what happened?
Yeah, it's kind of an interesting story. I basically was at a friend's house and he had one, which I think is probably how most people first experience a DVR. And he's telling me what it does, and I'm saying, no way, no. And he shows me, and he pauses live TV. And then he goes to his list of recorded shows and just brings one up immediately. No switching, cassette tapes or anything.
Yeah.
And I was floored. So I decided I got to get one. And I soon found out about what Andrew's talking about with the upgraded capacity. So I figured, I was a computer consultant at the time. I thought, I can handle this. I can figure out how to put a drive in. Yeah. So I did. I put a drive in my TiVo. Mine was a slightly later version than yours. I think I had an HDR 112 first. And then, then a friend of mine saw it. Yep. And he said, I have to get one of these. Oh, you put capacity. Oh, we got to do this. So before we even had his ready to go, we decided to start selling them on eBay. And we sold his on eBay before we had even fully built it, frankly. This is my business partner.
So you would trick him out, essentially.
Right.
And you're like, you love your TiVo, but your TiVo doesn't have enough capacity. We will do that for you. And you'll just buy it pre-made and everything's all ready and you just plug it in and do it.
Right. Essentially, it's like the hack part. We do the hack part. We pump it up and you just, you plug it in and go. So, then over the years we expanded into all the other permutations of you already have one and you want more capacity, or yours broke and you want it fixed, and all that kind of stuff.
Okay. And here's the weird thing is, so I remember when Patton Oswalt did that joke about his TiVo and how it was the greatest gift he had ever received, greater even than the gift of life. I will link you that, Conan said, minute 3, where he tells that joke. Okay. But, the thing is that he mentioned, because I had a VCR, right? 2000, I think 2005. Mm-hmm. I didn't even have cable. Mm-hmm. And, so to pause live television, how is that done? Like, how did they get the rights to do that?
Well, it's always recording. So the TiVo is basically always recording what's coming in the cable, whether it's from your cable box or from the antenna or your cable line. It's always recording, and you're watching it like, a second later. So you can always pause it because it's always being recorded.
There's a buffer.
Yeah. Okay.
And there's in the original TiVos, it was about a half an hour. And there was basically, as soon as you change the channel, it starts filling this bucket. Okay. And you start taking video out of the other end of the bucket. Okay.
Was the buffer, so you were a half an hour behind television when you
No.
Okay.
I mean, you can start viewing whatever is in the bucket right away. So it starts filling this bucket up, and you have a straw to the bottom of the bucket, and you can watch
this
whatever
is bucket technology.
Yeah, right.
My brother was giving me econ barrel technology the other day.
So as soon as it starts pouring video into the bucket, you can start watching.
Sure.
Right? But the bucket holds a half an hour.
Oh, so you can't start pausing television until it has a little bit in it.
Right. Tiny bit. You can pause whatever is there, and then the bucket will continue to fill.
Oh, like regular buffer on YouTube now.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. And so
it kind of works the other way.
Yeah.
Okay.
But
fair enough.
I'm also a computer consultant, by the way.
Yeah.
So the bucket will continue to fill, and the bucket holds half an hour of video. Okay. So if you
can only go back in time a half an hour, is that
on the
deal?
buffer. Okay.
If you're not actually recording the show, if you're just watching live TV.
Oh, I see.
So
you're like, I missed something.
Right.
Yeah,
wait, what did he say?
Back.
Let's go back.
Yeah. But the other thing is that if the way I would start to watch live TV, and this is something that changed television for me and for everybody else who has a DVR, is you would start to watch a program, hit pause, 5-10 minutes, go get your cup of coffee, go get your snacks or whatever, come back, and now you got 5 or 10 minutes in the buffer on a half-hour show or an hour show. And so you're 5 minutes or 10 minutes behind the world, right?
Right.
Okay. So what you do is, as soon as a commercial starts, you go click, 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 and you pass by the commercials. And
so TiVo ruined advertising.
Well, yeah, TiVo wouldn't probably want to think of themselves in that light.
It's interesting because TiVo had
changed
TiVo
the world,
changed
though.
advertising.
Yeah.
And actually, they have made a lot of efforts to try to make advertisers happy in the mix.
The original TiVo had the 30-second skip built in, as I recall.
As they all do still.
They all do if you know the
If
secret
you know how to
code.
enable
Yeah,
it, which, if, by the way, I can plug our website on that one. If you go to weeknews.com/30, just 30, you'll get instructions for the 30-second skip for your TiVo. So,
that's neat.
Yeah, it's a really handy feature. Most commercial breaks are 3 minutes long. You press this button 6 times, you're 3 minutes ahead, you're right back to the TV. And
Oh, okay.
TiVo and Replay really fought it out early on. The interface on Replay was also a little bit not as good. TiVo had a good interface, and
It was just easier to use?
it was easier for people to surface content that they wanted to record. It was easier for people to if you were going to buy one for your mom, you'd buy a TiVo.
Okay.
The Replay recording interface was not as good, in my opinion, and it used an operating system called VxWorks that was not as responsive.
Actually, yeah, the TiVo's responsiveness and also the TiVo remote.
Yeah.
The TiVo, it's
the peanut
people,
remote.
People don't think about it until they don't have it. But as you'll learn with your TiVo, the peanut remote fits in your hand so well. The buttons are in the right place. Nobody looks at it anymore. Everyone knows their thumb just goes where it needs to go.
Okay.
And it's a really, and actually, I think won design awards. It's a great piece of equipment. And as much as TiVo's changed over the years, the remote is almost the same as the first remote, just because it's so good.
Okay. There was a question I had about something he said earlier that we waited off. So
Okay.
can I go there?
Yeah.
Okay. It's you said that they've been trying to do something to make up for the fact that you can skip the advertising.
Well, okay, so they have over the years they've done a lot of things. They had showcases at one point where they basically are selling advertising in the TiVo.
Okay.
Then they have different ways of when you fast forward, you can still see the commercial in fast motion.
Okay.
They've had different tie-ins and they have them with different cable
So you can
companies.
see the Tide commercial. You're just like, yes, you're skipping this commercial, but
Right.
it's clearly a Tide ad.
But
and then they showed some studies that show that you actually still ingest the idea of the commercial, even if you're not watching the full
also,
commercial.
it depends a lot on what else you're doing. Like if I'm watching TV while I'm doing something else,
Right.
I almost never skip the commercials. Like I'm busy. I'm doing something else, and
Right.
the TV is essentially background, and it doesn't really matter whether it's commercials or somebody yammering on CNN.
Right, but if all you're doing is sitting and watching a DVR show, I usually skip the
Yeah,
commercials.
exactly.
Right?
But even there, you do get enough of the freeze. You're paying attention because you want to know where to land.
Right.
Yeah. What TiVo did in a number of ways that really helped them out a lot in the beginning was they had the best overshoot algorithm.
Still.
Yeah.
I think still there's nothing. Yeah.
When you fast
What's an overshoot algorithm?
I'm going to explain. When you fast forward on a TiVo, you hit fast forward a couple of times and then it goes through and then you hit play because you saw what you wanted to stop at and
Right.
start watching again. TiVo was the smartest about how far to go back a little bit. Right?
Basically, yeah, your brain,
reaction
by the time
time
your
is
brain
not
hits
perfect.
the button on the remote and the remote talks to the TV, enough time has gone by that at 10 speed or 8 speed or whatever it is, you're 10 seconds further than you need to be.
Right.
Okay.
And
So
so
you have to back
TiVo
up
knows how to go back.
You don't have to back up. TiVo does it. That's the thing. They call it skip back, I think.
Yeah.
It just, they figured out if you're going this fast forward, then this is how far to go back. If you're going at 2 speed, you go back this far. And they just
Okay.
knew
TiVo
it.
just anticipates what you're doing so well that it really is perfect. And then TiVo
thinking
also
about
had,
people.
speaking of anticipating,
detail.
this is what Patton's joke was about and what my earlier TiVo joke was about was, TiVo also came out of the box with the suggestion feature, which is it would parse what you were watching for keywords and things like that.
Right.
Names of actors, of genres.
Horsies.
And- yeah, exactly.
Yeah,
And-
that's part of the joke. The joke he does on Conan has got that part in it too.
Yeah.
And yeah.
And so it would because there was no point in leaving capacity unused
Right.
on the disk, it would automatically record to the limit of the hard drive shows that it thought you might enjoy.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
And it was
I think I've chosen correctly in saying that you are a TiVo dork. You're like, no, we should bring this guy in because this guy knows more about it than I do.
but he does know more because the last
I'm
TiVo
gonna
I
get more
bought was
coffee. You guys talk to each other.
okay.
I know the under the hood stuff. It's a little different then. But what's your last TiVo?
Well, I bought Woot had the HDR 110 for a long time.
Okay.
And I upgraded it with a hard drive from you.
Okay.
And an Ethernet card from 9th T.
Okay.
And then I also had the Replay.
Uh-huh.
And then for a long time kept both of them. Then the replay became less interesting because I lost my standard landline phone.
Okay.
And the Replay 2020 wouldn't do Ethernet, right? And the HDR 110 wouldn't until I put this card in it. And so I got everything on my LAN, and then I was using cable company DVRs for a while and was not happy with them. We had a Motorola box that crashed all the time. And that's the other thing about the TiVo is it's dead reliable. It just doesn't crash or reset. We see
the broken ones in my office, so I have a different experience.
But the hardware failures is one thing. Yes. Software is a different thing. And,
absolutely. Right. The software is rock solid.
With the cable company DVR, at one point or another, I would every Monday it would crash and forget to record Letterman.
Like it was updating its software on Sunday
something
night
happened,
or something.
And just any recording that was over midnight on a Monday would not happen. And it was just those kind of little bugs in the cable company DVR that would drive you insane. But TiVo didn't have that. And then, so I upgraded the HDR 110, and then I wanted to go to HD. And so Woot.com had a sale on the TiVo HD XL.
Okay.
And I bought one of those and a cable card, and I've been very happy ever since.
Woot does have amazing deals when they get that kind of stuff. I'm always in envy of their pricing because we can't match that kind of stuff. But
they buy overstock. They buy
They'll theoretically buy refurbished units or units as they're at end of life, that kind of thing. But the HD XL is a great unit, terabyte drive, a lot of space in there. Yeah, multi-stream cards and
I've never filled it up. Yeah.
You've never filled up a terabyte of Okay. Yeah. Wow, that's good. We can do
the other thing. That's why I haven't.
Nice.
That's why I haven't upgraded. Is because I am watching less and less TV now as other things take precedence in my life.
Right.
But the TiVo is the greatest. I mean, it's just the greatest.
I agree. I mean, we also work with DirecTV DVRs, which have gotten pretty good, but as good as they get, TiVo does stay a step ahead. Actually, there is now again a DirecTV TiVo. There wasn't one for years, but the company's made nice, and there's a.
Oh, so you can get the TiVo through Direct? Because I have. We never had cable. I never had cable, and then I got Dish Network.
Okay.
Because it came with my DSL, and because I had dial-up for the
bundle.
longest time.
Yeah,
I bundled
the bundle, right?
I bundled it, and so I still have what is now garbage on top of our roof.
An old dish antenna.
An old dish antenna.
You don't want to take that down though, because then you have holes in your roof. You gotta.
Oh, do they drill a hole in my roof?
They usually drill a hole. Usually, you can take the actual dish part down, leave the mount up there.
Oh, there's some sort of metal plate kind of situation? Yeah. Well, so we got rid of it because we never watched it. And then I bought this bad boy. It's an HD antenna.
I actually use an HD antenna myself, and TiVo is very happy for people to use HD antennas. And frankly, especially if you're looking to not have another big monthly charge in your life.
Yeah.
HD antennas are the best. I actually have a simpler one myself, and it's fabulous. I use it in my garage because I don't have a way to get my cable out there easily.
Okay.
So I just get broadcast channels in my garage. I have the same TiVo you got over there, and it's great.
Yeah.
And you get tons of channels. They're in HD, they're digital, and they're free.
Yeah, they're actually higher quality than the cable channel.
Higher quality than cable or
because the cable
satellite
channels are very compressed.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. This and this because TiVo sponsored the show last month, and so I was like, well, and then they asked me if I wanted a TiVo, and I said, well, I don't have cable, and so they sent me the Premiere 4, which only works through cable.
Right.
And so I said, well, I can give this to somebody, or I can give it back to you. Right. And they said, well, we have one that works with an antenna, and that's just the regular Premiere, I guess, right?
That's great. Yes, it's a regular Premiere, records 2 channels at once. Records about 70 hours of HD. It's a great unit.
It's going to be sweet.
Fast.
I'm going to get the Korean channel and the Spanish channel.
It is unbelievable. Living in Los Angeles,
Armenian show.
Yeah, we get all kinds of crazy stuff. I think I get like 50 channels, but I can only really watch maybe 12 because I can't understand the other ones.
Right. There's my favorite is Create TV, which is essentially the poor man's. It's just over the air Food Network, Travel Channel, all of that, because it's essentially one night it'll be woodworking, and another night it'll be a very irritating older Italian lady telling you that you don't know how to cook right.
Nice.
And
gotta record that. In case you're feeling good.
But America's Test Kitchen is my current favorite cook show, which I'm really looking forward to because I'm gonna set it up. I'm gonna set up the TiVo. It's all very exciting. And you brought me this thing, which I totally appreciate. This Wi-Fi.
Oh yeah, the wireless adapter.
Yeah, and then I have that Stream thing that they gave me.
The Stream is great. The Stream I was an early adopter of the Stream. I love the Stream because one of the few times that I really get to watch TV is if I'm on an airplane. The Stream, if you're on a plane, you can't watch Netflix.
Do I have to bring the stream with me?
No. The stream sits in your house. The stream just converts what's on the TiVo to work on your laptop or your iPad. Actually, sorry, it doesn't work on your laptop yet. It's only iOS devices. So it's iPad and iPhone. So what I do is the night before I'm going to be on a flight, I'll take my iPad. I just plug it in and say, hey, download these 6 shows, go. And then the next morning, I have 6 shows there.
It's not a sling box. It's more like an MP4 encoder.
Yeah, I guess it's MP4, to be honest. I don't know what the format is. But yeah, it's something. I mean, it translates the format that's on the TiVo into a format for iOS. And they're working on Android. I think that's coming next. And it's all locked and everything else so that you can't steal the stuff off your iPhone.
That was the other thing that TiVo was such a joy about. When I had my HDR 110, I cracked it.
Right.
And so I used a variety of different TiVo programs that people had written, not by TiVo the company, but programs to operate with the TiVo.
It's kind of cool and they don't care?
Well, they did care.
Yeah.
The one thing that they cared about was breaking the copy protection.
Okay.
Right.
So the early TiVos, the Series 1 TiVos, like Andrew's first TiVo, didn't really have encryption the same way the newer TiVos have encryption. So you could do a lot with those early TiVos that you can't do now. But on the flip side, TiVo has given out tools that will allow transfers of shows, like things like with the stream, but with encryption. So you're still within the bounds of the copyright protection, but you can use your stuff.
There was a very important lawsuit that basically Sony and the TV producers went head to head, and it went all the way to the Supreme Court, that basically said you have the right to record TV signals that enter your home and do with them what you want as long as you don't violate the license.
Okay.
All right. And the license means that you so
sort of reproducing and selling.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay.
And so
do you know what the case was called? Or
I wish I could remember.
I will find it and put it in the notes.
But it's the lawsuit it's the judgment that gave people the right to record on their VCR.
Okay.
And say we can do stuff with our VCRs. We can change form. We can.
So it's from the 90s. So it's at least
actually maybe from the 80s.
Yeah, it sounds old. Yeah. Right, and that's why there's a discrepancy between what you can do with what you record over the air on your antenna or what you can do with what you record from a cable company. And there are flags in the recordings to say, hey, this is from HBO, so you can't do XYZ with it.
Okay.
Mm-hmm. But actually, I picked a bad example. HBO happens to be very good about, HBO Go is on the Apple TV and on iOS.
Right.
HBO is very forward thinking about using your content.
Yeah, they have HBO Go. I don't have HBO. My brother Russ has HBO. If you're listening, Russ, seriously, you never travel. Why don't you share your HBO on the go with me? All right, so
people do.
I got my dad's.
See, you have your dad's, and my nephew has my Netflix. So,
but that's actually Netflix allows you to share with family members.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
I think you can just have 2 streams going at once. Is what it is.
And I mean, he never uses his I don't think that's an abuse of HBO and the Go power. So
I can't speak for HBO. I can say for Netflix, they must allow at least 2 streams because I know my daughter has it on 24/7. So if I'm ever able to watch it, they have to be allowing more than 1 stream.
Yeah.
They have family packs that allow 4 streams at once, I think, now too. Yeah.
It is, my favorite thing with Netflix is to see what he's watching. And I'm like, seriously? Really? You're watching Lisa Lampanelli's special? You do that. You enjoy that. You knock yourself out, kid. He's a good guy. Anyway, he's at college. Is your daughter at college?
My daughter is not in college. She's in high school.
Oh, she's in high school.
Yeah.
All right. So she's got her own agenda.
Yeah. She's pretty tame and reasonable, but
good. And are you from Los Angeles?
I am not from Los Angeles. I'm actually from Maryland, the great state of Maryland. Yes. What?
I grew up in D.C.
You grew up in D.C. All right.
Yeah.
Okay. I went to high school in Bethesda. So.
Where'd you go?
Walt Whitman High School.
I went to Sidwell.
Okay. I have lots of friends who went to Sidwell. Okay.
Yeah. Walt Whitman was the best public school.
Oh, yeah.
In Maryland, suburban Maryland, outside of Washington, D.C. Sidwell was one of the best private schools.
Right.
I believe the Obama kids go to Sidwell.
So, yeah, they do now. Yeah. And I actually was
only as good as how it's going now. So yours is going pretty well. Yeah.
I was in a program with Amy Carter, actually.
Oh, right.
Yeah. So I was Amy Carter and Anna Gosteyer and I were all together in this reading program after school.
Do the 3 of you still get together to hang out? How's that go?
No, they hung out a lot together. Okay. I was just sort of.
You know that woman who wrote? There was an article, Lean Into It. She was the Facebook lady.
Oh yeah. Lean In. Yeah,
Sherry Sandberg.
Sheryl Sandberg. Yeah.
Nice. So Tracy Ashley comic friend that you've met. She went to high school with her.
Oh, wow. Okay.
And is a stand-up comic, lives in Indiana, and a friend of mine. And she went to high school with Sherry Sandberg. Tracy was student council president, and Sherry Sandberg was treasurer.
Okay.
And she said, I've been meaning to call her for the last 15 years. And I said, well, you might want to get on that. I don't know.
Probably impossible to get through that number now.
Maybe she could Facebook her.
Right, because I'm sure she's... But, if you're student council president and treasurer, you genuinely know each other. So maybe there's something there. Mm-hmm. I like to weed off, it turns out. We've moved away from DVRs. So this thing is the most basic TiVo right now, right? This Premiere that I have?
I hate to call it basic because
it's sweet,
in the world of TiVos, it's, they've come so far. It does a ton. You can do Netflix on there. You can do YouTube on there. You can do Amazon. Well, not Amazon Prime, but other Amazon videos on there.
Okay.
A lot of different, you can read the newspaper. Tons of things you can do on there, even games and things. So it's not basic, but yes, it is in the current lineup of TiVos. Basic, it is the least expensive one out there.
Right. And it seems pretty magical, and I think it does 300 hours of non-HD, right?
Something like that. It might even be more. I always forget what the calculation is in standard F because no one cares anymore. Everyone's got an HD screen like yours, and with recording over the air, you're going to record almost all HD. That's just what's out there.
Yeah.
I would have said the number was more like 500 or 600 hours, but you'll be able to see when you have it up in your system information screen. It'll tell you exactly. So.
All right.
And by the way,
yes,
that may be because of me.
Okay.
Because
I just found an email that I sent to TiVo.
Oh. You're a helper.
In August 28th of 1999.
They had email back then?
They had email.
All right.
I sent
Were you
them,
on Prodigy?
I was on CompuServe. My CompuServe ID was 73300, 13.
Unbelievable.
All right. My /.ID is 9448. All right. I'm an old nerd.
Yes. You and your Santa beard. Let's do this.
This is so funny to me because I sent them a list of about 9 or 10 suggestions for the TiVo interface after I had the unit set up for a day or two. Or a week or so. This is August 28th, 1999. And suggestion 7, space remaining at default quality indicator, maybe as part of system info. And they've responded, this is a good idea. I've entered this as a request for feature enhancement.
Amazingly, they don't have space remaining still. There's a percentage now, but they don't have the actual hours. Since day one, people have wanted that. And there is a good technical reason why you can't really have that, which is because at the different quality levels. And
there's also, they do variable bitrate recording.
Right. So it gets to be, there's no firm answer. You don't want someone to say, oh, it said I could record 4 hours and I've got 4 hours and it cut off and my son was on that. You owe me money.
Bowl. Yeah. You owe me, which is what the end of every sentence is. Yeah. And, I like, I'm excited about the whole thing just because it should be. And this TiVo stream, I have an iPad 1 though. Will it work with my iPad 1?
I think it will.
As long as it'll play video, I think it should work. The issue for you may be more storage than
right, because I think it's just a 16 or an 8.
Yeah. It does say you have to be running iOS 5.1. So
just put that anywhere.
Andrew's buying a new iPad, so after that,
Andrew dropped his iPad. It's Aww.
How's it looking? Yeah, it's working.
Looks all right.
He's had it from 1999, right, with the original emails on there. So.
I like that you can still access your 1999 emails.
I've been running my own mail server since 1993.
All right. And
is that an X486 processor in that?
The original mail server was the original mail server was
in them.
The original mail server was actually a dual Pentium 133.
Okay. So you've upgraded since then.
Yeah. I mean, I was running mail on other systems for a while on a Sun and stuff like that, but my own personal mail server, the first one I built was a dual processor Pentium 133 running Red Hat. Linux 2.0 I started with.
Have you ever heard of my first one? AOL. Have you ever heard of this? It's You've Got Mail is their slogan. And my sister set it up for me in 1988. And I was the second name on her AOL account.
Nice. Mm-hmm. Yeah, can you even pay for AOL anymore? I don't know how that works.
People do. Old people.
I can see the addresses all the time. I just can't imagine how they still have them.
But here's the thing. AOL will happily take your money if you still pay them. Right. Mm-hmm. But you don't need to. But there are people out there who are still happily paying $24.95 for their AOL accounts.
They forgot to charge. I had dial-up for many years, right? And Darla and I shared our AOL account, and with dial-up, one person could only be online, so she would have to call me And say,
but of course your number was busy because you were online. So those.
She's like, we have to figure out a way that I can get on my.
In 1997, I was a volunteer at the original TED conference.
Okay. The very first one?
Not the original. It wasn't the first TED conference, but
Right.
it was the original TED conference before they became the juggernaut that they are now.
Okay.
Where there's all kinds of conferences all over the world. This was the original Richard Solwerman TED conference in Monterey.
In Monterey, California?
Yeah.
All right.
And
did you go to the aquarium?
I did not go to the aquarium on that trip.
Okay.
But
Just curious.
but one of the attendees was Steve Case, who was at the time the CEO of AOL.
Okay.
And they had just gone unlimited. They had just gone
Right.
from an
Right,
hour
5
limit.
hours a month.
Yeah.
5 hours a
Oh no, it was
month?
it was more. You could get. I think you would pay a certain amount, and then there was a charge per
I
hour.
thought it was 12 hours. Anyway.
But then you could
maybe.
go. You could go. There were packages.
Yeah, I feel like I paid $9.95 at one point for like the limited. Yeah.
But then they went unlimited, and nobody could get through all of a sudden.
Okay.
Right.
Oh,
So when they brought Steve Case up to do his talk, his TED talk, they brought him up instead of to music. They brought him up to a busy signal.
Oh, you know why? Because nerds are hilarious. They're hilarious. And and you know what? It just, everyone laughed. And I hope they warned him, though. They probably did. They probably warned
he was probably so used to the ribbon.
Right.
So much
It was all people could talk about for a little while.
Saw the brilliant AOL Time Warner merger, which was just absolute brilliance. Yeah.
Yeah.
Is that sarcasm? I don't know.
Yeah.
That didn't work.
It wasn't good for anybody.
It plummeted both companies into
Into a spiral?
Yeah, but I think they later broke back up. I think.
Yeah, they've split off.
Yeah,
I mean,
it was
I don't know.
it was a mess. It was going to be synergy at its best.
Okay.
Who knows who owns anybody in the media field now?
I don't.
So weak knees. Let me ask briefly about. So with weak knees, do you sell TiVo units?
We do a bunch of things. Yes, we sell regular TiVos like the one you have. We sell your TiVo with more capacity. We can put about 600 hours of HD into that.
Okay.
Which is like 2,700 hours of standard def. Ridiculous, but
Yeah.
we can do it. And then we repair them. We upgrade them. We also do a lot of DirecTV stuff these days. We actually got into DirecTV back in like 2002 because DirecTV's only DVR was a TiVo back then. And so we had a big clientele looking for TiVos for DirecTV. It was great. Then DirecTV had all these changes over the years and went into different directions with DVRs. You know what? I misspoke. They also had the Ultimate TV back then, the Microsoft DVR. We didn't work with that one, but DirecTV had two different brands of DVR. Anyway, so as DirecTV and TiVo diverged, we stuck with both, and we do a lot of DirecTV stuff now. You know, we can like set up a new system in your house with units all over the place, and they have an item like a TiVo stream. Theirs is called the Genie Go, and you can record several channels at once.
Catchy.
And yes,
Yeah.
It's funny. TiVo and DirecTV both have a device like this. I don't know what the generic term for it, but the TiVo
but regular cable doesn't.
Regular cable doesn't. That's pretty true. You know, a lot of regular cable companies though have TiVos now.
Okay.
So a lot of times if you get a cable DVR, especially from like Cox, I want to say RCN and maybe some Comcast, they will send you a straight up TiVo. It's a little bit modified, so it runs their software. It's still TiVo software, but it's got like their brand name on it and that kind of stuff. But it's a full TiVo DVR.
Oh wow!
And I'm not sure if the stream works with the cable brand ones or not.
Right. So you do, and now DirecTV and TiVo are working together.
So they're together again. So we have that box and we have that expanded. You know, we basically sell all manner of DVR parts. Like if your remote breaks, we've got new remotes. If you need a Wi-Fi adapter, we got the Wi-Fi adapter. If you need a repair on something or more capacity, or you want to copy your shows to a larger hard drive for your unit, all these kinds of things. You need a power supply. I mean,
I bought a replacement fan from you the other day for my HDXL.
Oh, there you go.
We got fans are a big. I mean, fans are a
Is that a big business?
Yeah, well, I wish I could say we made a lot of money on fans, but unfortunately they're
not
very
not a 20
small.
bucks a pop.
Yeah,
It's just a thing that occasionally breaks, right? I've replaced a fan in a computer,
but they make noise, and you hear the bearings going, and my TiVo would just start to make noise occasionally, and I knew it was the fan because I'm that kind of guy. And,
right.
And
people have them in their bedroom, and they starts whirring. We can't sleep. Yeah, so then you call us. And
the other thing is they sell the expanded capacity hard drives, and the hard drives that they use are a little bit different from the hard drives you put in your computer.
Right, we use AV drives.
Yeah.
They're the same as the drive that would come in pretty much any DVR. So any DVR comes with an AV drive. It's a drive that's tuned for video. So instead of being tuned to like get that Excel spreadsheet up right away, these are tuned to stream video smoothly without any kind of hiccups. So when you're watching it, it's just
sometimes
smooth.
in fact the AV drives have two read-write head assemblies.
Is that right?
Yeah,
okay.
they have two There's some of them that have these, like a hard drive looks a little bit like a phonograph record with a tone arm on it,
Oh, okay.
All right. And so that tone arm moves back and forth to read the hard drive.
Yeah.
And so some of the AV drives actually have two of these assemblies so they can be reading and writing at the same time.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Especially because, some new DVRs can record. There's a DirecTV DVR that can record 5 channels at once and play back 4 at once.
Oh, wow.
So
you can do 9 things at once?
It's doing 9 things at once, which I personally can do, but not everyone.
Right. Yeah. I have to say that, when I think about like the blacksmith and his anvil,
right,
you're like,
same thing,
except for that it's not just one blacksmith. It's like 9 blacksmiths.
It's ridiculous. Yeah.
I don't understand. This is, I'm going to say this out loud. Really? I don't understand how most things work, but, the fact that, that like a computer can run several programs at once. It feels like there ought to be 3 different guys inside. Well,
sometimes there are.
Yeah?
Yeah. I mean, most modern processors are multiple core units. So like the processor in your computer over there has 2 cores. Okay. It's a dual core CPU.
Okay.
All right. So there are 2 central processing units that actually process instructions.
Okay.
Now, some processors even do something called hyperthreading, where they basically trick the operating system into thinking that each processor is 2 units on its own. So my computer, which is a quad-core processor with hyperthreading, actually appears to the operating system as 8 cores. And then
so it can sort of process 8 different things.
There are 8 different sort of lines of execution at once, right?
Wow.
And so
it's all the processor. That's where these things are being processed.
Exactly.
Hence the word.
Yeah.
Okay.
So the hacker really wants in there because they can run 8 different bots on your computer at one time.
Not on my machine. So I have...
The gauntlet has been dropped. Of bitboy.com.
Oh, stop.
Okay.
You don't have to throw the door wide open for Actually, bitboy.com is kind of interesting because, I mean, that's
his website.
That's my website. But the last Dork Forest that I did, I talked for an hour and
57 minutes
about my home virtualization server.
Okay.
So my website, bitboy.com, actually runs on a virtual Ubuntu Linux machine that runs on a Hyper-V virtualization server in my house.
Okay.
Which was born in the Mesopotamian valley, the Ubuntu. What is that, Ubuntu?
It's a Swahili word meaning freedom, I believe, or something like
Is it
Sounds
really?
like a great vegetarian restaurant in Napa, by the way.
Have you ever had a Chardonnay with that? It's nice.
Or maybe it's sharing. It means something.
Okay. So, what are you running?
What do I'm actually a Mac guy.
Okay, so you're an iOS dude.
I'm iOS. I'm Mac. At the office, I do have a PC because, in office worlds, you sometimes need to do those PC things.
Right.
But most of what I do runs on my MacBook Air, and I dig it.
I got a Mac Classic in the garage. It has 2 megs of RAM.
Nice.
I've told you about it before.
Do you remember Peter Sprite?
What?
Peter Sprite had a Mac Classic, and based on a suggestion from me, that I pointed him at a website where you could turn your old Macs into fish tanks.
Oh, yeah, did he?
Yeah, he did that.
Oh. Yeah. See, mine has this
stuff.
It has this game from 1988 that I bet you
run emulation.
Leisure Suit Larry.
What?
No, Leisure Suit Larry was the famous game.
I remember that game.
I think you can get that for the iPad.
I think it was called Temple of Doom. And it was,
when really got that name from?
Dark Castle.
Dark Castle.
Wasn't that the one where you had the rats and the bats?
No, this one, all it was a top-down dungeon crawl. Mm-hmm. So you look down at the dungeon, your dude is wandering around, and you fight different monsters. A succubus approaches. Mm-hmm. And so there's a tiny black and white screen, and then next to it is a text scroll. So it was right after it went from text video games to video games, but they didn't know how to...
Couldn't really get rid of the old...
They couldn't get rid of the text, but it was amazing. And there would be like these weird hints. You'd find a scroll. The 40th level is death. And so you'd have to go up to the 40th level. And then it took me 8 months to beat that game. It was an amazing game.
Now, do you still actually boot that? Does it work? No.
No. Okay. I should boot that. Because the thing is I bet you're right. There's an emulator online for that damn game. I can get that game if I want that game.
Plus, that computer's 20 years old. More than that.
It's 88?
Well,
that's
I had a
25 years old, I
512K
think.
in like 87, so yeah. I will say, to include TiVo in this part of the...
Yeah.
people's TiVos, like your old TiVo, which are now 14 years old, a lot of them are still running. Those hard drives sound like jet planes, but they do still actually run. It's unbelievable.
And it was a 68,000 processor too, wasn't it?
I think it was, the old Motorola 68Ks. That's funny.
Yeah, which is the same processor that was used in the original TiVo.
Oh, okay.
Or in the original Mac. I mean.
Yeah. Which,
Okay.
Sort of tells you. Of course, 15 years had gone by, but that's okay. Yeah.
So can you rebuild your TiVo to make it could you put a hard drive that didn't sound like a jet machine in it?
We could put racing stripes on the side.
Oh, sweet. Possibly.
I mean, the problem with the HDR110 or the HDR112s, those old TiVos, is not so much the issue of the operating system or even the hard drives. The problem is that they only accept the original NTSC analog video, which has gone by the wayside now.
Okay.
Well, you can get a cable box. There are ways to make a converter. Can I tell you, who uses those boxes? It's bizarre. Diving coaches. Some brilliant diving coach figured this out and has told every other diving coach. And it's applicable to other situations, but diving coaches, they put them on a 30-second delay. They have a camera trained on the diving board and the diving well, and someone dives, climbs out of the pool, walks over to the TV and sees their dive. And they learn from it. Oh yeah, should have this, that. They go back and do another one. So we get requests all the time, maybe not that frequently, but we do get requests from diving coaches saying, "You got the old HDR 110."
That's funny because they're just keeping some old system running instead of coming up with something that's probably better and cheaper.
I'm sure something that's probably $15 could do it today. Just looping the video a little bit.
Oh, right.
But
a Vine.
Exactly.
Just be some weird Vine video.
Everyone watching their phone.
I'm going to dive and watch it. And
6 seconds should pull it off. That's right.
Yeah, that's completely insane. But yeah, I like the fact that there's repurposing because you have to figure out where all this tech is going, and where to cannibalize it and how to reuse any of these parts, right?
I ended up e-wasting my HDR110. It had a lifetime subscription. It was kind of disappointing.
Sad. Yeah.
Well, I wanted to give it to my mom, but my mom is
moved on.
my mom is. Well, no, she wasn't at the time, but it was just frustrating for me because my mother will not allow me to tech her up at all.
That is the complete reverse of most people I know in the tech world, where parents, grandparents, cousins, everybody wants a piece of you to figure out their tech stuff. You don't get that.
Well, no, my mom has an old Mac, and I have to keep her running on that. But she doesn't like. Did you ever see the T-Mobile Cameo frame?
Nope.
What is that?
It was a really great little gizmo. It was a digital picture frame. It was a 7-inch or 8-inch screen, right? And instead of connecting via USB cable or a Wi-Fi network, it had its own built-in cellular data modem.
Wow.
Okay, similar to the ones that are in parking meters now.
Right.
All right. And it had a phone number. It had an email address. And you could, from your phone or your computer, send a picture directly to the frame.
So, because your mom still lives in Maryland, right?
In D.C.,
In D.C., and so you could conceivably take a picture of yourself in front of the...
Yeah, but she doesn't have a cell phone. She's not interested in doing pictures on the cell phone.
But you could have sent it to her frame, and then it would just show up.
Exactly, because
I would look what just happened.
Yeah, and they do have some security. You can set up allowed lists or block lists.
Sure,
so that you can't.
But you would be allowed.
Yeah, maybe. But the point is, it doesn't. There's no hook. You plug it in and it works. So for your grandmother or your grandfather. So T-Mobile originally sold these things for $100, and then they were $10 a month.
Okay.
All right.
Oh, $10.
And
that's not cheap. Yeah.
Yeah, but then they couldn't get rid of them, so they started selling them for $4, and I'm still happily, or $40 for the frame, and $2 a month, and I'm still happily paying $2.03 a month to keep my digital Cameo picture frame running.
Oh.
But I tried to send it to my mom, and she literally wouldn't open it, and she sent it back. Because
that sounds like expensive postage.
But the idea was that it
was idiot proof.
You plugged it
in.
You
got to go visit her once. And I did this for my grandparents. I set it up. Of course, I did it with a Kodak one over Wi-Fi. They changed companies. I don't know.
She wouldn't let me buy her a webcam. I wanted to put a webcam on her computer
so you could Skype and stuff?
We could video calling, and she wouldn't let me do that either. But
I asked for a webcam one time, and I got one, and it's now sitting in a closet because I don't.
And because one's built into every computer and phone that's been made in the last 5
I don't
years,
think that has a webcam, but I don't care because it doesn't have a...
But you can do it with your iPad.
Your iPad
has.
Yeah, not the iPad one.
Oh.
Steve Jobs was alive when I bought that one. It's pretty sweet. I still, in memoriam, don't get a new one.
I think we're going to see new ones in September, so...
Oh, yeah, the
iPads and iPhones, yeah.
Okay, because the little tablet, right, that came out last year or something?
The Mini came out last year.
Yeah. Okay.
I have a mini. I love that thing. Weighs nothing.
Yeah, I have the iPad 3, the Retina display. Mm-hmm. I'm essentially a pixel whore.
Yeah. I know. That's the biggest problem with the mini is that the display it looks terrible.
Maybe
not terrible.
I had avoided the iPad, and for a long time, I had a little laptop that I had hacked to run Mac OS and Windows 7. And I was very happy with that. But the iPad is with the LTE and the Retina display.
Yeah.
I bought it day of release. I couldn't avoid it. I felt like I was joining a cult.
The LTE is faster than my Time Warner wonderful.
Oh yeah, I in the right places, I get 40 megabits a second with the LTE.
It's insane.
Yeah.
I went and got my iPad. You want to feel the weight? Feel the weight.
That is definitely heavy.
It's a brick. I drop it all the time, and it never matters because the iPad 1 is that the.
That's the mini.
Oh my god!
That's why I had one of these, and I thought, oh my god,
it's like a phone.
But I also
people have phones this big. You see people in Starbucks talking on stuff like this. You're like, what is that? That's so
right. The phones are getting bigger now.
There's everything. There's a continuum of sizes. I think. There's some discussion that the new series of iPhones that come out in September will finally be available in more than one size.
Oh.
Yeah, but that's,
it's going to wreak havoc on the world of accessories.
Yeah, exactly.
Right.
But,
right.
I mean,
which will be exactly what they're planning for. Because they love an accessory.
And everyone's like, oh, I'd like to make this in 4 sizes.
I have an iPhone 4S. I have a Samsung Galaxy Nexus, and I have a BlackBerry.
You have a collection.
You keep no Microsoft phone though. Nothing with
Not
Windows.
yet. I think I may end up replacing the BlackBerry with a Windows phone. Okay. But the Blackberries are becoming less and less relevant, unfortunately. I was telling Jackie the other day I'll have all these little tombstones in my head for all the technologies that I gave my life to understanding. Yep. I was a CNE. I'm a certified Novell engineer.
Okay.
That's that phone system, right?
No, Novell is primitive PC networking.
Okay.
Yeah. Actually, I'm not that primitive. There are many ways in which NetWare 4 NDS was so much better than anything we do now.
They're still running out there. You still see offices running Novell servers, yeah.
I thought we had a Novell, remember at Closed Captioning Services when I worked there? I thought someone left a weird phone server and there was a server and then 19 phones for us 4 people.
That might have been an old asterisk system or something like that.
I thought it started with an N. Anyway, but a lot of things start with an N, Jackie. Not just Novell. Not just that. We just keep moving.
But just like all these tombstones in my head. I have BlackBerry is going to be a tombstone sooner or later. Right. I have Ricochet. Do you remember the Ricochet wireless modems?
No.
Oh, this was before the days when cell companies did data just routinely.
Okay.
Ricochet set up these local metropolitan area networks. Huh. All right. They put 900 megahertz transceivers on light poles about a mile apart. And they were being used by a lot of cops, police departments.
I was sure you were going to say drug dealers, but okay.
No, but you could also buy a Ricochet modem for yourself. They had private data networks that were 14.4 and then 28.8.
Nice.
$30 all you can eat.
Wow.
And you'd be surprised how much data you can pump through a 28.8 modem when you don't have to.
If it's 24/7, sure. Yeah.
And then, and the original Ricochet modem was the one that I had was the slimmer model, and it was about the size of a large paperback book, and I Velcroed it to the top of my Vio 505 GX Super Slim.
Come on, not the Vio 5. What the hell is that?
It was one of the original Sony very thin laptops. It weighed 2.5 pounds.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. And
Sony Vio.
So you drive around finding spots where you'd actually get service, or
no,
it was
it was universal. It was all throughout Los Angeles. It was. I was lucky because I moved from Washington to LA, and it was in both places. And
this was like the Iridium.
Yeah, Well, but no, that's satellite.
Well,
this was
What's Iridium?
It's satellite telephony.
They had 66 satellites. I think it's dead now, but it was basically 66 satellites that covered 98% of their service.
There is satellite telephony still, so I don't know if Iridium is dead, but they put 66 satellites in orbit at a cost of billions of dollars, and it was never particularly successful.
Ooh.
Yeah.
Well, it makes that AOL Time Warner thing we were talking about.
Whenever people talk about how their cell phones are going to satellites, they're wrong. It's something that really, really grates on me. Cell phones are not satellite phones.
Okay? They aren't?
Cell phones, there are towers all over the city.
Oh, right. They look like trees.
Some of them look like trees, but mostly they look like they're white and rectangular antennas that are usually in pods of 3 or 6. And
they're just connected, like connect the dots kind of things?
yeah, that's the cells.
Well, yeah, but sometimes those are connected to satellites, but the phone never is, right? Sometimes those, if you find those like out on Highway 5 in the middle of nowhere,
more likely they're not connected to satellites. They use microwave relay of some kind, the line of sight microwave relay.
Okay.
So is that why my phone doesn't work when I go to the Middle East? Is because I don't have a satellite phone?
Yeah, or your phone is actually on a different frequency than the phones that they use there. Their cellular technology is different from our cellular technology.
Well, who would do that? Why would there be different
Apple,
because there's
for one.
Yes, actually, there was one Apple iPhone that was universal, but they've gone back to the world of the 4S could do everything that was available at the time.
Yeah,
but the 5 there are 3 different versions.
Yeah, I mean, there's different. I mean, there's different frequencies. There's different modulation techniques. There's different.
You can certainly get a phone from your U.S. carrier that works anywhere, but you can rent them and that kind of thing, or you could buy one on eBay and just put your own card in it. Okay. But they're available, and we probably use that here to some extent. Some carrier somewhere uses it, but your phone just didn't work.
My particular phone when I went over there, and granted, I have a $21 Go phone that I bought at AT&T.
It probably is a Verizon phone.
It says AT&T.
Oh, it says it, but it's
AT&T is pretty universal.
Yeah, AT&T is GSM modulation. It should be.
It should have worked when I was in Oman, and yet it did not.
But it may have been. You know what it is? AT&T GSM, even in the United States, is different bands than it is outside the United States. So in order for a GSM phone to work anywhere that GSM is, it has to be what's called quad band.
Okay.
All right. There are 2 bands that are in use in the United States. I believe it's 850 and 1900.
Okay.
And then outside the United States, it's like
I think it's like 950 and 1800. Funny.
Yeah,
they're similar.
They're very similar numbers, but they're flipped. So. Like the original trios were quad-band GSM phones. Like, in order for it to work internationally, it has to be.
Andrew's also sad about the decline of the trio.
My wife was a huge trio fan. Oh my God, keeping her trio working was a big...
I gave my sister my trio, my old Trio 680 that I used very happily for 2 or 3 years. I used an RDP client on the trio.
What, remote desktop?
Yeah,
really? Yeah, she did too. Actually, you know what she did? She got into her office
Exchange
with that.
servers.
That's right. Wow. With the pen, with the stylus?
I had the original OmniSky.
I don't know what that is.
And he still has a Palm Trio.
Yeah, he has a Centro. He has
a Centro or something like that.
It's a little tiny one, yeah. But I had the OmniSky, the Palm 5. Do you remember the Palm 5 PDA?
Yeah, right. That was not a phone, right? It was only PDA.
No, it was just a PDA. But there was a sled modem that you could put it in, a wireless modem, that was called an OmniSky, and it used CDPD, which was Cellular Digital Packet Data, which was a digital data format that was devised by AT&T and IBM for IBM field engineers to use to get information from the mothership.
And they came up with a whole format just for the field engineers?
Yeah, just for IBM. IBM moved mountains in those days. So there was this little CDPD modem that it was a little sled that fit on the back of the Palm 5. And there was an RDP client for it. There were web clients.
Did it have a backpack that you went like you were Radar from MASH?
No, unfortunately not.
That's
but
what
it did have
want.
a little antenna you could pull up.
And
so phones with antennas were great. I lament that. An iPhone should
like that 2 inches was. I remember somebody doing, possibly everybody doing that joke about that the 2 inches.
But it does make a difference because the frequency of an antenna is related to the length.
As a lady. I'm so sorry.
It's about the...
I'll be over here finishing my pirate coffee. I don't need to say the joke. We're all good. Let's talk about the future of TiVo, where you would like it to go, and what do you think? What do you think's left? I mean, they pretty much. I genuinely think that they have nailed the DVR business. Like the DVR is great in all its forms,
right?
And TiVo. I love the TiVo stream and I love all this stuff. And it sounds like an ad, and I guess it is, but whatever. But it sounds neat.
I think the big thing that people want anyway, and I'm not a futurist here, so I don't know what's really coming down the line, but I think the big thing that people want is to be able to stream whatever channel they want whenever they want it. And so with a TiVo, you can do that with certain channels already. Apple TV does it with different channels. Obviously, there are other boxes out there. There's Boxy, or Boxy may be kind of dead at this point. There are a few other. What's the Linksys box? There's a Google TV that's also kind of dead. There was another box out there. Anyway, Roku, I guess, is what I'm thinking of.
Okay.
So I think the day will come when you'll say, I'm not paying for everything. I don't need to pay for ESPN. Everyone hates paying for, everyone who's not a sports fan hates ESPN.
Right, if you could cherry pick those 6 cable channels you want.
Yeah.
And then when that happens, and HBO is getting pretty close with HBO Go. So when that happens, they call it a la carte programming. When that happens, you'll just get them all to your TiVo. Your TiVo will be connected to your TV and you'll pay. So you'll say, okay, I do like HBO. I'm going to pay $7 a month for HBO. And that's 0 for DirecTV, 0 for Cox, 0 for Time Warner. But HBO will get the money directly and it'll get rid of all the players in the middle there.
Wow.
And then, you'll pay another amount for, like, right now, I guess on the TiVo, you can pay for Netflix, right? And you can pay for Hulu Plus.
Right.
So, for example, those two, you pay per month and you watch all you want. Mm-hmm. And there's no broadcaster between you and that company. You're talking directly to the company with the content. So I think more of that's coming. I think TiVo will come out with more apps, more partnerships.
So the Netflix, because right now we have a Netflix running through the PS3. And it's the same thing?
idea.
It's
the same idea. I mean, what's nice about the TiVo, again, the remote. The remote is so great. So the TiVo remote, you're using that with Netflix. This is your same account, same access to the same content.
Which is good because right now I'm using the PS3
the game controller, right?
And I'm like,
not the same.
I'm going to actually kill someone.
Yeah.
It'd be great if TiVo had on it a Blu-ray player. That'd be pretty sweet.
Yeah, you say that, but they actually had them. We still have them in our office. Not Blu-ray, but standard F DVDs and burners. So you would record all your shows and you'd say, my mom wants a copy of this.
Humax units?
Yeah, Humax. They were pioneers. Toshiba's Humax. Yeah, so we still have Humax. You could choose in your now playing list, I want to burn these to a DVD. Set it. It burns them.
Those are really popular. I work for a couple of entertainment management companies, and those Humax units were really popular with entertainment management companies.
Oh, because they could pull people's sets
they
from
could
Conan
record
and stuff?
people's, not just comedy, but also all of their actors and stuff.
Oh,
so
right.
They could pull stuff down for their reels. Yeah.
We had a bunch of customers back probably 6 or 8 years ago who were buying those to use at like news gathering organizations because they could record around the clock. And then if they had a piece they needed to use to cut into something, whatever, they could burn it to a DVD and hand it off to some editor.
Yeah.
And they're really handy now. They have better technology for that. But yeah, for those people, I had a guy yesterday with a Humax on the phone and he was talking, the burner, this and that. I've only had the burner in this one for 2 years. I think the burner's bad again. I said, so how many DVDs do you burn per month?
Oh, right.
60. And I'm thinking, so 2 years, this is like 1,500 DVD. I'm picturing his house with 1,500 DVDs.
Right. What is he doing?
I didn't.
Oh, there you go.
I thought,
that's between him and his God.
Sometimes you open that door and you don't want to.
I have a client like that.
I actually don't want to know. You're right. You're correct to step away from
There's a TV show called Hoarders. You just watch it there. You'll know what you need to know.
I have my own issues with hoarders.
My feeling is
it's a breach of the social contract, hoarders.
It's what Michael is saying. It's disintermediation. You are going to be talking directly to the content providers. And
for the
cable
future.
companies are going to become much more dumb pipes than they have been in the past.
I think it's HBO. One of these guys now has a deal where if you have, say, Time Warner Internet, but not Time Warner Cable, you can add HBO to your Time Warner Internet bill.
I've never seen that. Yeah.
So and I hope I don't have the names wrong, but I probably do. One of the HBO, Showtime, Cinemax kind of companies partnered with one of the cable companies and said that we could do that.
Okay.
So it's slowly coming. But of course, if a small company does that, like the tennis channel, then every cable company is going to, or every DirecTV and Dish are going to say, "You're done. We're not going to
carry you."
But HBO, they have more.
HBO's got some muscle.
Yeah,
they got some good programming.
Fair enough.
And they're going in the right direction, frankly.
I'm going to a little bit of heresy. I'm honestly thinking about, at the very least, stopping my cable subscription and cutting the cord.
I don't consider that heresy at all.
But I'm thinking very seriously about getting rid of the TiVo and the TV because I watch everything on the computer now.
Okay, there we go.
Yeah.
Full on heresy.
I have a 30-inch monitor and two 21s and
but you're that guy.
I am that guy.
You know what?
There's no question.
I'm almost there. I have I think a 30-inch, that Apple Studio. It's huge and it looks great. It looks probably better than my TV. But there's no couch in front of it. I got my desk chair there. What do you do about?
Here's what I have.
Well, wait a minute. Here's my question. Is I was told to watch television that close to the TV was bad for my eyes.
Is this like reading at night is bad for your eyes because it's dark? Because it turns out the reverse is true.
And eating before swimming.
No, you're supposed to eat before.
Okay.
I think it's one of those. I mean, for me, what I've done in my work environment, my ergonomically.
And you can throw to TV.
I can throw to TV if I want to from the computer, but I have the computer actually directly connected to the TV via HDMI cable. But
okay.
But so I actually have 4 monitors coming off my computer. I have the TV, the 30, and the 221.
Is it all wired or is some of it wireless?
No, it's all wired.
Okay.
But it's all in my living room. My living room is my office, is my TV room, is everything.
Right.
So,
you don't have any more cats.
I don't have any more cats, and I don't have any more girlfriends, so it's all...
All in one.
Nobody's going to trip over anything.
Yeah. That was always one of the biggest hurdles in any relationship I got into, was explaining to my girlfriend how to turn the TV on.
TV, yeah.
I bet.
Did you end up with a crazy universal remote that had like 86 functions, but still didn't quite solve
Logitech
like,
Harmonies have been really good.
Yeah.
I use a Harmony, and I really
those
like
are the good ones. But I had one of those at my house, and we had mass riots. I was overthrown.
Anyway, but so what I have is my monitors are on arms. So I have my desk chair for when I'm working with the big display and the 2 displays on the side.
Oh, right.
Or I have my recliner next to my desk, and then when it's time to work, I just swing that over. I put my feet up in the recliner, and I swing the little monitor over right in front of me and the big monitor next to me. And
your iPad on your lap?
And yeah, often.
That's the thing. That's, the dual screen deal is definitely what's happening now. My kids do it. I'm starting to do it.
I find that I have at the age of 46, I have one language processing center.
Okay.
Right? I have one.
But is it like verbal plus visual, or?
I have the ability to play a game on the iPad that doesn't require a tremendous amount of language processing.
Right.
Or to browse the web a little bit, or Facebook and stuff like that, where I'm not really paying that much attention. But if I'm watching The Daily Show, that's using my language processing center,
Dangerous to be on Facebook while you're watching The Daily Show. You could get into some trouble there.
All of a sudden, you just start posting. Gentlemen, it has been an hour. Huh?
We are out there.
We are there. We're there. So let's do it. Weaknees.com, WeakNees.com,
Yep.
in Culver City, if you want to walk in and say, is Michael here? Because I got this thing. And so you could go that. But I genuinely appreciate you coming all the way up to Van Nuys. And
thanks for having me.
And being on the Dork Forest and dorking out about TiVo, because now I kind of understand how the heck it's going to work. And I thank you, Andrew, for introducing me to these people.
So happy to be here.
And always willing to dork out about techie stuff, right and or left. So, and thank you, Rangers. Oh, the Dork Forest. Welcome. I don't know. I think I'm supposed to say thanks. Do you want to plug
I just want to plug my Twitter, at Solmsen, SOLMSSEN.
Right.
Follow me for little nuggets of comedy and or computer wisdom. And sometimes both.
Right.
I cheerfully admit sometimes both.
A little mashup. It'll happen. It'll happen.
At Solmsen. And I would love to see you there on Twitter.
All right. You got a Twitter for Weaknees?
We do. I can't say we tweet a ton, but we're at Weaknees.
Yeah, that's
Shockingly, but it's like crazy spelling. Yeah.
Yeah, it's crazy. And of course, JackieCation.com, DorkForest.com. Feel free to go to those things and see where I'm doing stand-up, because good times are out there. And live Dork Forest in July in Portland with Carrie Brownstein from Portlandia. So tune in, folks. See you later. Bye.
My hat, my hat, my hat. They're dancing around my hat, my hat, my hat, my hat. Well, what do you think of that? If it looks like a Mexican hat dance and it sounds like a Mexican hat dance, it's most likely a Mexican hat dance. So take off your hat and let's dance.
Yay! Oh my God. Why don't we just call that as the end of the show?